My name is Dr. Hilary Booth, and I'm a naturopathic doctor practicing in Toronto, Canada. I'm really excited today to be a guest vlogger for The Zite, which is a fantastic website as a resource for you as you improve your body, energy, and mind on your journey for better health. Today I'm going to be talking about the best ways to stay healthy this summer. The summer months are the time of year where our dietary regimes go out the window, our exercise falls off the bandwagon, and we do all this in favor of barbecues and patios and sunshine fun. As a naturopathic doctor though, I want to help my patients and my listeners to find that balance between enjoying summer and staying healthy. So I'm going to give you my top 5 tips today for staying healthy this summer, and tip number 1 is to stay hydrated. Did you know that the adequate daily requirement for water intake for men is 3.4 liters per day, and for women that number is 2.1 liters. A lot of us aim for that arbitrary 8 liters or 8 glasses of water per day, but actually this amount can change depending on your body composition, your height, your weight, and your gender. So the other thing to take into consideration is when you're outside in the heat, your water requirement goes up because our bodies are trying to maintain a homeostasis level, meaning it's trying to maintain its normal body temperature despite being surrounded by really hot weather. So our bodies have to work harder to keep our body temperatures normal and balanced, and this takes extra water requirements. The other thing is when we're physically active, our daily requirement for water also increases because of course we're sweating more, so we're losing water that way, but also physical activity increases our body temperature internally. So our bodies have to work even harder to maintain that homeostatic balance. So of course, please listen to your body. If you're thirsty, drink more water. If you're not, you don't necessarily need to go chugging and force feeding yourself with lots of extra water because that can be dangerous as well. So please listen to your body, stay hydrated, and make sure you're meeting those adequate amounts of water intake per day. My tip number 2 is to ditch those pre-made sports drinks. Gatorade and Powerade and other things like that contain tons of sugar and additives and artificial coloring, which is not great for your health. So when we sweat though, it's really important to rebalance and replenish our electrolytes that we've lost in our sweat. So it's not just water, but we're actually losing some ions and nutrients with sweat. So instead of reaching for a Gatorade, you can make your own homemade natural sports electrolyte replacement drink. So I'm going to give you that recipe. All you need is 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 1/4 cup of lime juice, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of sea salt, 1 to 2 tablespoons of raw organic honey, and 1 liter of filtered water or coconut water. So you can mix this up in a blender, or you can use some elbow grease and mix it up yourself, and this creates a really great electrolyte balanced sports drink that you can drink in the summer when you're physically active and need to replace some of that electrolytes that you've lost from sweat. This is also a really great recipe that you can use if you have been sick, if you have the stomach flu, because it again helps to replace some of those nutrients that you may have lost when you're sick. My tip number 3 is to use sunscreen sparingly. I know a lot of people are surprised when they hear a naturopathic doctor say this, but according to the Environmental Working Group's 2015 sunscreen guide, sunscreen should be your last resort. The FDA also says that SPF benefits above SPF 50 actually stop being beneficial. So buying those sunscreens that are SPF 75 or 100 is actually useless and can be more harmful. So please limit it to SPF 50 at a maximum, but really you should be trying to do other things to avoid needing to use the sunscreen. So for example, you're covering up, wearing a hat, wearing long sleeve shirts and pants, and you're finding shade. And if you are not in an area where you can find shade, please create your own. You can just bring an umbrella or a little tent with you if you're going to be setting up camp outside. Now many sunscreen also contain harmful ingredients like oxybenzone, which is a hormone disrupting chemical, and many contain retinol, which is actually vitamin A, and it's interesting to note that it has been linked to skin damage. So watch out for that. There are lots and lots of chemicals and toxins in sunscreens that you need to be aware of, but thankfully there are some really great natural sunscreen alternatives that are available to you. So making sure that you're choosing natural options is great, and there's a great guide available on ewg.org/2015 sunscreen, and that gives you a really great list of why you should be avoiding sunscreen use and finding other ways of avoiding getting a sunburn and other natural ways that you can cover up to protect yourself. So while you're looking for more resources and other things to find to improve your health on the internet, please don't forget to check out the rest of the Zite. It's a great website for more information on how to get a healthy body, energy, and mind. My number 4 tip for you today is to watch what you eat. Summer tends to be barbecue season, so that charred and smoked meats, actually, did you know that they are cancer causing? Charred meats cause carcinogens to be formed, and these carcinogens are called heterocyclic amines and polycystic aromatic hydrocarbons. It's a whole bunch of big words basically to mean that they actually cause mutations in your DNA that can cause a predisposition for cancer. So cancers that are at risk include breast cancer, colon cancer, liver, prostate, skin, lung, throat, and stomach cancers. So that's a lot of different cancers that can all be caused and promoted forming by smoked and charred meats. So try to avoid those charred marks on your meats, and you can also cook more vegetables because charred vegetables actually don't cause those same carcinogens to be formed. So those are much safer and healthier for you. You can also partially cook your meats in the oven before bringing them out to finish them off on the barbecue. And that reduces the amount of time that the meat is in contact with that high heat. And it's that high heat exposure that causes those carcinogens to be formed. Most importantly, please limit your burger, sausage, and hot dog intake. I know they're delicious, but they're not very healthy for you. So focus on healthier food choices like chicken, fish, and veggies this summer. My number 5, fifth and final tip for you today is to know the warning signs of heat exhaustion. So heat exhaustion can lead to stroke, sunstroke, also known as heat stroke, which can cause brain and organ damage if left untreated. Heat exhaustion happens with prolonged sun exposure or prolonged heat exposure. So young athletes are actually at a very high risk because we often push ourselves and stay out during the peak sunshine hours and often are ignoring our body's warning signs. So please be aware that symptoms include dizziness or fainting, nausea, confusion or disorientation, headache, excessive thirst, rapid heartbeat, fast and shallow breathing, profuse sweating, and muscle cramps. If you experience any of these things, please do not ignore your body's warning signs. It means that it's having trouble maintaining that homeostasis that we talked about earlier. So please immediately find shade, rest, stop that physical activity, drink some water, and remove tight or unnecessary clothing, and cool down with a cool compress or by dumping some water on your head. If your symptoms still persist after 15 minutes of treatment, you need to seek medical attention immediately. If you start to notice that you have stopped sweating despite being in hot conditions, this is a sign of a medical emergency. This means you've progressed to heat stroke and you need to be seeking medical attention immediately. So again, if you notice that you stop sweating despite being hot, this is a medical emergency. I hope that you learned something and enjoyed listening to my top 5 tips to stay healthy this summer. I'm going to recap them for you now. My tip number 1 is to stay hydrated. Tip number 2 is to ditch those pre-made sports drinks. Tip number 3 is to use sunscreen sparingly. Tip number 4 is watch what you eat and please avoid those cancer-causing smoked and charred meats. And number 5 is to know the warning signs of heat exhaustion and make sure to act on them if they do appear. If you enjoyed this video and are looking to learn more from me, I regularly post new video blogs on my website and on my social media sites. So you can look me up at HilaryBooth.com, that's HilaryBooth.com, or on Facebook or YouTube. If you're in the Toronto area and would like to book an appointment with me as a naturopathic doctor, I would be happy to see you. Please visit my website at HilaryBooth.com to book your appointment there. I want to extend a huge thank you to the Zite for having me as a guest vlogger today. I really hope that you guys take some time to check out the other wonderful articles and resources that are available on this website to learn more about how to continue improving your health. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Hilary Booth. Take care.